He fell asleep in New Jersey before the bombs hit the ground. Broadcasting from a bomb shelter, he is the nuclear clown. The greatest superhero movie of all time. The most wonderful thing I have ever seen. The height of cinematic achievement. Oh, Hawkeye! Hawkeye, yes! Oh, Hawkeye, you hit the target, Hawkeye! Hit the target! Those are just some of the things you may have heard about the Avengers, the big, enormous money machine that opened in theaters recently. Well, maybe not that last thing. That was mine. I threw that in there. That is not mine. That is Nietzsche's. But I did see the Avengers, and I have to tell you, the Avengers was enjoyable. I did like it. Was it the greatest superhero film of all time? Did I have a raging erection through all of it? Well, some of it, maybe. What I'm trying to get at is, everybody, let's calm down. The Avengers was fine. It was good. It was enjoyable. I had a good time watching it. It was not a cinematic Marvel masterpiece in any way. It was a fun film to sit through. It was nice. The action was fun. It's always fun to watch people blow things up, and it's a superhero movie. And yay, good work. I don't think it's this crazy massive thing. It's undoubtedly successful. You can't argue with that. Even I wouldn't do that. But guys, simmer down. Let's be realistic here. So my spoiler-free review of the Avengers is as thus. It was enjoyable. It was nice. I definitely liked it. I give the Avengers a good review. There you go. And if you think you're going to like it, you probably will. If you're going in it expecting The Godfather with capes, you're probably going to be a little bit disappointed. But fun times. Fun times for all. Now, my spoiler-laden review is coming. It's been a while, so let me just build up. Breathe. Remember. Focus your hatred. Okay, we can begin. Now, I've talked ad nauseum on my podcast about my thoughts on the Avengers as a superhero team. What? You didn't? Oh, well, you haven't heard my podcast yet. Well, you'd best get yourself to Nuclear. You'd best get your ass to Mars and nuclearclown.com, where you can listen to all sorts of podcasting things that I like to do. Now, real quick, I guess I should kind of clarify. I think the Avengers as a team, as a superhero team, kind of suffers from Superman syndrome, in that when you have the world's greatest mixed martial artists, Captain America, whose ground and pound is through the roof and his takedown defense is extraordinary, and you have him teamed up with Iron Man, invincible, multi-billionaire guy, and you have a Hulk, a giant, indestructible, strongest creature that ever lived thing, and then you have Thor, a god. It's a bit overkill, and I personally find it hard to think of a challenge that would be suitable for such a gigantic conglomerate, if you will, of superhero teams. I've said on my podcast that the Avengers are like the New York Yankees of superhero-dom. And I stick by that. And you'll say, Dave, they fight a god in this themselves, which is Loki, the god of mischief. And I reply that gods are not supervillains. And I really like supervillains. I don't like gods so much. When you kind of mix mythology and comic book superhero-dom, I know a lot of people will say it's the same, and comic books are the new mythology, this, that, and the other thing. But supernatural creatures and stuff versus superheroes, I don't know. To me, it doesn't really match up. But that being said, I wanted to go see the Avengers. I think that the setup was neat of them all getting their own separate movie and then building to this. I like that. I like that quite a bit. And let's see. Should I talk about the good things first or the things I didn't really like first? Actually, I'll leave on a positive note. So that means I'll start on a negative note. I want to talk about Loki for a second, the villain. Now, first, I think I should preface all this I'm about to say with I have not seen Thor. I've not seen Captain America. So I don't know any kind of story elements that might be in that. As a matter of fact, the Avengers story is low-key stealing this giant glowing cube that I had no idea what it was or what it did. And my friend told me that it was explained in other movies, Captain America and Thor, or something like that. So if I had seen them, I would know what I was talking about. I'm going to try to not bring up any problems I might have had with this movie based on anything having to do with stuff I may have missed. So keep that in mind. I am not going to talk about anything story wise that may have been my fault for not seeing those other movies. Now Loki himself. All right, if you're gonna put a god in this and they're gonna fight a god, I think that Loki's a pretty cool choice because he's the god of mischief. Now, when I went into the Avengers, I was really looking forward to the portrayal of a god of mischief. I would think, in my brains, a god of mischief would be a great time at parties, let's just say. A god of mischief would be a fantastic character to play. I kind of went into it thinking it would be neat if they kind of played Loki as a guy he's just having fun. He's just messing with people's shit because he's the god of mischief, right? He's more not like a happy Malkavian prankster thing. I hate that, by the way. But more like a kind of guy who's just interested in having fun and throwing a monkey wrench in everyone's pudding. I'd still eat that pudding. So take that, Loki. And I was more than disappointed when I found out that they played Loki pretty much like a straight bad guy. He shows up and does his whole kneel before Zod thing, and I kind of thought, really? The god of mischief is just a regular dime a dozen cackling super bad guy? That bothered me. That bothered me a lot, and I think they missed an enormous opportunity with Loki as a character. Now, again, I didn't see Thor, so I don't know how they portrayed him in that. I would guess pretty much the same, unless he had some kind of life-altering thing that made him fun in Thor and not fun in this. But I thought they could have really played that off better. And the actual way that Loki himself came off, especially as a god of mischief, I mean, come on, this could have been a really fun bad guy. But it turns out he just wants everybody to kneel to him. And there you have it. So right off the bat, I had a little bit of problems with Loki. Moving on, the story of the Avengers itself is that Loki gets this giant glowing Hellraiser box thing, and it's supposed to have all this power and stuff, and I didn't see the other movies, so I can't really comment further on that. But he has this staff, which is like another part of the box thing or something like that, and he can touch people with it, and they will serve him, right? So it's like you walk up, you touch somebody on the heart, and their eyes glow blue, and then they do whatever Loki wants. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of neat. And actually, first let me say Hawkeye sucks. Can we all agree? Hawkeye sucks. I wouldn't even call him second fiddle. He's not even in the orchestra. He's not even, maybe he's in the audience, maybe. But when you have Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, and Captain America, and, you know, Black Widow's just the tits. So, I mean, she's got to be there, right? You need the sex appeal. You know, and then you have Hawkeye. Hawkeye sucks. Okay, please, Hawkeye sucks. So, in the right off the start, Loki shows up and he's like, "Hey, dudes, I'm gonna mess some things up now. Let's get this movie started." So he touches Hawkeye in the chest with the thing and immediately claims Hawkeye as a servant, which cracked me up because Hawkeye sucks, and of course he just gives no resist. They didn't even have him put on a heroic, you know, how I would have done it. If you want to kind of underline that Hawkeye's, you know, deserves to be with Iron Man, Thor, and all these people in the same sentence, let alone same superhero team, I would have had Loki pops up, he touches one scientist guy with his little staff, and the scientist guy, because he's a faceless nobody in this story, goes, yes, master, I will serve you and do whatever you want. Would you like some biscuits? And then he goes up to Hawkeye, touches Hawkeye, and Hawkeye... and he fights it off, and you see him, his eyes turn blue for a second, but then they fade as the internal battle between this god and this mortal man take place. And you could have really had it be dramatic and have Hawkeye fight it off for a second, but no, it's just like yoink, and Hawkeye's like, well, how may I serve you today, master? Would you like some gravy? So I didn't like that at all. I think right from 5 minutes in, they proved my point that Hawkeye sucks and should be bodyguarding Miley Cyrus somewhere, maybe. All right, Miley Cyrus should be bodyguarded by Hawkeye, and throw in somebody else just in case, because Hawkeye sucks. So anyway, right off the bat, Hawkeye is serving Loki, and I found it funny that they escape from, I don't know, Shield headquarters or wherever, and Loki's in the back of like a truck, and you have a chase scene with a god. Can't Loki fly? I don't know. I'm not that into Loki or Thor to really know, but I would like to assume godhood comes with at least being able to run fast. If you can't fly, can you run faster than a truck? Because you have Loki and his minions escaping on a truck, and Loki's on the back of a truck, and he's a god. It's like having Jesus Christ be in a motorcycle chase. It just bothers me. I'm going to try to stay away from this because I go on and on about it. So anyway, Loki escapes, does his thing. Kneel before Loki, and an old man's like, no. Hey, you know what? That's kind of funny because Loki shows up in, I don't know, a mall or something, and he's like, everybody kneel before me, I'm a god, and everybody kneels except one old man. He stands up and he says, funk that, Loki. We're not going to take that kind of crap. Hawkeye, take a lesson, because a 67-year-old man just denied a god when you were just so eager to serve. But anyway, really, he sucks. Hawkeye sucks. So anywho, Nick Fury gathers all the Avengers together, and what I thought was really neat, they don't get along and they argue with each other and they fight each other, and it's not an easy thing. You have these super egos kind of all clashing. I mean, they've all had their own movie after all. I mean, Scarlet Johansson, Scarlet Widow, Scarlet Witch, whatever her name, boobies. She's like, whatever, I didn't have my movie yet, so I'm in. And Hawkeye's like, what? And then Iron Man's like, I've had 2 movies. I'm not joining you guys. You've only had 1. And then Hulk is like, dude, I've had 2 movies. Hello. So the big ego clash thing, their agents talk. And at the end of the movie, they get their shit together. Now, Loki's big plan, via the use of some machine, I don't know, do gods need iPads? All right, whatever. Loki's big problem is that he wants to give everybody grief on Earth. So he's opening a portal. He made a deal with some entities for an army. I don't know why a god needs backup. Okay, enough about that. So Loki wants to summon an army of evil things to come in and take over Earth, right? And at the end of the movie, he does this. So I'm like, all right, yeah, we're going to see some pretty cool stuff. We're going to see a god summoning an army to take over Earth. This is going to be some good shit. Let's see. I don't know how Hawkeye and Scarlet... I keep wanting to say Scarlet Witch because Scarlet Witch is cool and Black Widow sucks. I mean, one does magic, one shoots guns. You choose. But I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, wow, a big giant army of god people. I'm guessing Captain America, Thor, Hulk, and Iron Man will be okay, but Black Widow's got like a Glock, and Hawkeye has arrows. There's no possible way they can repel this divine army, right? I was wrong, because Black Widow's just one-shotting these guys, and they're just like, no, bullets, oh my god, hollow point rounds, and Hawkeye shoots one with an arrow, and they're like, no, an arrow, and I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny that this big, unstoppable divine army is getting, like, prison shanked, and they're dropping like flies. I didn't like that too much at all, which begs the question, if these things can be killed by bullets, couldn't our U.S. Army at least slow them down? All right, I'm going to make a bold statement. In 2 weeks, the Coast Guard could have repelled these things. If bullets and arrows affect them, normal troops, I mean, it's not going to take as short a time as the Avengers doing it, but I think we have this under control. It would have been kind of neat if the president called Iron Man and was like, guys, we got this. It's alright. Like, we'll call you when Galactus comes to eat Earth. But these guys, if you're killing them with arrows, take the day off. We got it. So I don't know. That was kind of silly to me. But, and also, if I can just trash Hawkeye a little bit, one part was so incredibly stupid. He's under the mind control, right, of Loki. And they kind of invade S.H.I.E.L.'s giant flying battleship, whatever. And Hawkeye shoots an arrow. It's a... he shoots an arrow that hits a computer. When the arrow hits, these little mechanical things come out of the arrow and go into the computer and start like hacking it. So Hawkeye has malware arrows, and like he shoots it perfectly in the USB slot, and it was so ridiculous. I started laughing. Come on, really? Virus arrows? You have USB arrows, Hawkeye? You suck. Hawkeye sucks. So anyway, they snap Hawkeye out of it, and you're gonna love this. Black Widow helps end Hawkeye's trance, and he's a good guy again, right? Like we need him, but Hawkeye's like, oh my god, how did you snap me out of this? And Black Widow says, I hit you on the head. Not even a dispel magic. All right. A god gained control of Hawkeye's mind and made him serve him, right? So you mean to tell me those powers that made Hawkeye serve him were all you have to do is knock somebody upside the head and it cancels it, it dispels it immediately. Loki should sue these people he's getting this army from, because first of all, they gave him a crappy army who can die with bullets and arrows and stuff like that. All right, if Thor rips the head off of a divine soldier and kills it, I can buy that. If Hulk smashes a giant god monster, I can buy that too. But if Black Widow boom headshots a god army, I got problems. I got a receipt. I'd like to return these, please. And that was kind of silly. And Loki's control over people's minds. All you got to do is hit somebody in the head and they'll stop. All right. Okay. All right. And my friend brought up a really good point about the Avengers that cracked me up. Black Widow is being sexy and rolling around and stuff, and she's locked in this room with the Hulk, who Bruce Banner freaks out because his phone bill was like through the roof, so he turns into the Hulk and starts stalking Black Widow, right? And it's kind of like a Friday the 13th where she's running around and the Hulk's after her because he's just lost his shit and he's in berserk mode. All right, I get it. So she's, sneaking around, highly trained spy, right? And the Hulk just kind of rounds a corner and is like, boo! And she's like, ah! And runs. And my friend turns to me and says, did the Hulk just sneak up on someone? Right? Can you picture the Hulk? Like, yeah, if there's one person who could out-stealth a secret agent, it would be the 1,000-pound Hulk. Right? I weigh half that. I'm only 500 pounds, and I can't out-stealth a reindeer from 2 miles away. I'm just saying, and with bells all over me, it doesn't work. I've tried it, and I've never had venison. Is it good? I've heard it's a little sweet. So that cracked me up that the Hulk went Tenchu stealth assassin on Black Widow. So yeah, I thought that was kind of fun. But I know it seems like I'm ragging on the Avengers, but I did have a good time seeing it. So now let's get to the good shit. It's always very, very neat to see a bunch of people blowing shit up, especially if they're super people. So when they had the kind of big army fight, I guess, with the big divine army against all the Avengers, and the Avengers finally get their shit together, I thought that was really cool. It was fun to watch. It was neat. Everybody blowing stuff up. Everybody using their powers. Hawkeye shooting arrows. Woo! All right. Anyway, and that was very cool. And one thing I did notice about the Hulk, especially, the other Hulk movies they did, when he turns into the Hulk, he just, you can have, whether it's Edward Norton or Eric Bana or whoever, and they turn into the Hulk, it goes from that actor to giant, muscular, insane green clown posse thing that goes berserk. And that's really kind of it. In the Avengers, I noticed that when the actor turns into the Hulk actually resembles him in the face. It actually looked like the guy. And I don't think in the other Hulk movies, any of the, giant CGI Hulks looked like the actor who was supposed to be portraying him. And I noticed that right off the bat, and I thought that was really well done, that when the Hulk actually turned into the Hulk, he looked like a Hulkified version of the actor who plays him. I thought that was really, really cool and really impressive, and very well done. So that was really neat. The action was good. The special effects were good. And one thing I particularly liked is that everyone in this movie kind of shined and had their moment, except Hawkeye. But Hawkeye doesn't deserve a moment because we've already established, So, like, for example, Thor, he has the whole Asgard connection with Loki, and he helps them do their thing. Iron Man figures out things and, does his wittiness stuff. And Hulk saves the day and one-shots a big, giant space slug like Wrath of Khan that crawled into their ears and told them what to do, and told the guy from 227 to shoot himself in the chest. He was in 227, wasn't he? I think he was. And Black Widow, she's kind of interrogating Loki, kind of, sort of, and makes him in a kind of a Silence of the Lambs thing where Loki's all in the cage, and she kind of gets him to talk, to tell his plan without him noticing. And I thought that was really neat. That was a really good use of her to kind of give her moment. And my favorite part of the movie was Captain America's little scene where there's the big war going on, the big battle for the city, and he kind of gathers the Avengers, and he kind of quarterbacks the whole thing, and gives them all kind of their marching orders. You take this, you do this. Hawkeye, try not to get in anybody's way. And I thought that was really great, because Captain America is kind of like the ultimate leader, I guess. I remember in one of the Marvel Universe role-playing games or something, because, I do that sad, pathetic shit, Captain America's leadership score was like through the roof, and I'm glad that they really illustrated that he's more than just the shield guy in a walking advertisement for capitalism. But I thought that was really neat, where he's kind of laying down shit and planning things out. So they each kind of had their moment, which I thought was really, really good. And it was a fun film. It was enjoyable. And stay to the end, because there's a little thing that happens in the end. I won't spoil it, but they don't make you wait too long. I noticed this, and I thought it was very considerate on the part of whoever made this movie. They roll the credits, I guess, and then kind of maybe like a minute in, they play the little hidden scene and then play the rest of the credits. So you don't have to sit there and wait for 5 minutes through like 3 songs like you normally would have to see the little cool bit at the end, which I thought was neat, because by now it's not a real big secret. If you see a superhero movie, you stay to the end to watch them fight Robotech or whatever, Voltron. So yeah, so I thought that was kind of neat and considerate, and all in all, I did like the Avengers. I think it was a good movie. It was well done. Everybody had their little time to shine in it. Little disappointed in the villain. I would have liked the villain to be more, I don't know. He just seemed to me like for the God of Mischief, you could do a lot more than what they did. He seemed like your normal, average, run-of-the-mill, cackling villain, and I didn't really like that too much. But at the end of the day, the Avengers was some good shit. It was good. If you think you're gonna like this movie, you're going to like it. I'll put it that way. And that's about it.